more than half the world doesn't believe what we believe in.
Well, I don't know about that because you have Catholicism is the world's largest religion. You have Islam, which has a tremendous following, and in Judaism, we all believe what we believe. Mm-hmm. They are all Abrahamic religions stemming from the beginning of Abraham and Sarah. So right away, that's more than half of the people on the earth. As far as, Shintoism and Buddhism and whatever, I don't know. Now there's also a good question. I think it was posed here even. I think I asked it at one point. Can you be a Buddhist and be Jewish? Now my friend's son is Jewish, and he follows the teachings of the Buddha. The Buddha never claims to be God. Mm-hmm. It's just a way of life.
Correct.
So, you're not giving up your religion or anything. Does he consider himself Jewish? I don't know. I know that they're not very religious to begin with, but this is my friend Joel, who does not believe in a hereafter. Okay, we've had discussions. He and I have had discussions about this, and we've had discussions about it, you and I.
Isn't he the atheist?
On the show. I think he probably does lean toward atheism more than anything. So it's his point of view, and he's entitled to his point of view, obviously. But...
Okay. Let's see here. We got...
Boy, let me tell you, leave it to Felix. He's really prepared. He's got information here, boy.
No, I'm just saying. No, I don't know. Okay, there are 2.1 billion Christians, 1.6 billion Islam. But then to counter it, you got
very few Jews.
You got 1.1 secular, non-religious, agnostic atheists. You got 1 billion Hindus. You got almost 1 billion other Buddhists and ethnic religions. Over that. Then you got Judaism. There's only 14 Jews.
Well, we could
14 million.
We could thank Hitler for that.
Unitarian, Universalitarians.
How about Pastafarian?
Well, then
they don't even make the list.
There's 600,000 Rastafarians. So what I'm saying, there's 3.7 billion people who basically do believe in that, but there's almost there's 2-3 million people who are not involved in that necessarily, or believing that. Oh, wait a second! I have a caller. Good evening, caller.
Good evening. Let's see, Laurel and Hardy.
That's us. And you sound very familiar. You sound like the gentleman from St. Louis.
Not quite.
Not
quite.
No. You guys pick some very volatile subjects.
Adam, how you doing?
Oh, this is your brother?
It's my brother.
Oh, my goodness. Well, he was right the first time, though. Laurel and Hardy, that's us.
I try to call my brother on his phone line, but he don't answer, so I'll call him on the show.
It's the only way I can get you to call.
That way, that's a good point. So how are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good. How about you?
Well, we're trying. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm just checking to see if you guys are making any progress solving world's problems.
Well, let me ask you, Adam, do you see the correlation between, if at all, between Adam and Eve back in Genesis okay, and the 21st century of, Cain and Abel, obviously, and the Cain and Abel of the 21st century here, where basically if we all stem from the same origin, biblically speaking, mind you, it's nothing more than sibling rivalry taken to the nth degree. Between Shia and Sunni, all right, Israel's right to exist, President Assad, who thinks that he has the total backing of the Syrian people and he has nothing to worry about because they love him. I guess according to him, everything else is all made up.
Yeah, well, I think, I don't know exactly how to answer that because, I think that the Muslim issues are more, I think they're probably partly stem from the religion itself.
You're right. They're two different sects, but they all worship Allah. This is what we don't seem to understand. Okay,
well,
which one is superior?
You're right. Up until go ahead. I'm sorry. Up until a couple of years ago, I had no idea of that Islam was so fragmented between the Shias and the Sunnis. Nobody paid. I didn't pay any attention. I really wasn't aware that you have such a deep divide. I was when all this. I guess when in Iraq when things were getting out of control a few years ago, they kept talking about Sunni Shia. I said, well, okay, they're all Muslims. what? It can only be but so much of a big deal, right?
Adam,
but it's much more than that.
Adam, don't feel bad because as of 2003, I believe it was Rumsfeld, who was the Secretary of Defense at the time. He didn't even know the difference. He wasn't sure who we were backing, Sunni or Shia. Okay, because in one of his speeches he made a mistake. Now, if you go back to Saddam Hussein, and if you go back to Muammar Gaddafi and Mubarak and Assad and the supreme leader in Iran, okay, all of these people that we deposed, they were the ones that were keeping peace amongst their own kind. And that's why we really, you yourself, by your own admission, didn't know about the fragmentation between Sunni and Shia. But once these people were deposed and each one felt that the other was not giving enough, or not sharing enough of the government with the other, they felt like they were the minority. And then you have all this infighting, which is basically what it is. And unfortunately, the United States is stuck in the middle here. Had we left things alone, none of this ever would have happened. Okay? I don't even know.
Yeah, that's true. It's like we opened up
a Pandora's box.
Let the genie out.
We opened up a Pandora's box is what happened.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that we can hope for, and I stress the word hope, is that as with Pandora's box, the last thing to exit the box was hope. That at least there was hope for some sort of solution. Let's hope for the sake of mankind that there is some sort of solution, because according to the book of Revelation, when the Antichrist comes and everything, he's coming from that area. Okay, that's where he's going to be coming from. And we don't have to help him along, unfortunately. So, we really have to be very careful. There are people that call Obama the Antichrist. Your brother calls him the Antichrist sometimes.
I wouldn't go that far, but it definitely is not.
Unfortunately, Obama gets a lot of.
He gets a lot of bad press.
He does, and some of it is deserved, but I think he definitely gets a bunch of it. So
a lot of it is deserved. I'm sure a lot of it is not.
Well, I can almost understand when you think about it, and look, let's face it, I'm Jewish, and I'm very pro-Israel, but I don't agree with everything that Bibi Netanyahu does or says. I don't agree with, him coming here and giving a speech to Congress. I felt that Boehner was way out of, he was very wrong in what he did. He should have run it past the White House first, at least. It did nothing but cause friction between our countries, but...
Yeah, I agree with that. Even though obviously I am a supporter of Israel, but I think that was not a smart move to do. What he did. That it wasn't necessary. It didn't accomplish anything.
Right. I mean, actually, you see, the people some people will say that as close as the election was in Israel, Netanyahu managed to throw together at the last minute a coalition government so that he was able to keep himself in power. Okay? And that's all he wanted to do, really. But based upon the last few times the leaders actually have gotten together, there was a bit of friction and
absolutely.
Disagreement. That should have been really behind closed doors. It had no business. You had no business taking the dirty laundry out and airing it in front of the world. What can I say?
I could say one thing. Obama, if nothing else, has been a lousy politician when it comes to international politics. Not saying being right or wrong or right. When the tragedies in France, when Margaret Thatcher died, he didn't show up for these things.
He made poor political decisions.
That's what I said.
You're right about that. Not sending a high-ranking U.S. official to the funeral of Margaret Thatcher, while he sent his,
his cronies to...
while he sent, what's-his-face?
Exactly.
To Ferguson, all right, the Attorney General, Holder.
Right, yeah.
All right. Now, I understand that it was a touchy situation, a black and white issue and everything. But you can't tell me that, Margaret Thatcher, who was a friend to this country, England, the closeness, the relationship that we have with England, okay, to snub her funeral like that, or not send somebody to France after what happened, those were bad decisions. Those were poor decisions.
Or playing golf.
I was just going to say another poor decision when that first American was beheaded. He came on, he gave a 15-minute speech, and then he put his shorts on and went out to the golf course. I mean, that doesn't show...
any respect, decency. It shows a sign of a man that I don't think he should be showing to the public. That side should be left to the public, in his privacy of his home. This is not a good sign of a person.
I think he's obviously a smart guy, and I don't think he is strategically has made too many mistakes. But I think his demeanor.
He
doesn't help him.
You're right. He is very smart. He's very professorial. Okay, I mean, let's face it. He came from academia. Okay, and he'll eventually probably go back to academia. I am sure that he will once he is no longer president. He will go on the circuit, give speeches. Okay, maybe even teach some government courses at the bigger universities.
But I think he's
Yeah,
just.
that would be, it'll be interesting to